Welcome to Spectrum Perspectives, real talk with parents, professionals, and autism advocates. With your host, Cindy Gellermini.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. Today we will meet Manisha, who will talk about her son Akhil. She took him home to India as a baby, and then when he was a year old, they returned to the United States. According to her own words, he got his MMR and then he regressed and went into his own world and then was diagnosed with autism. Listen as she explains her journey researching and advocating for her son to find the right school and natural remedies. Today we are going to meet Manisha. She and I met on Facebook, and so we are meeting live in person today, and we're going to talk about her and her son and her foundation. But we're going to start in the very beginning. I ask all moms the same questions. We start from the very beginning. First of all, what is your son's name?
Akhil.
Akhil. Okay, so the foundation's named after him. Okay, so how old is he now?
He's 19.
Okay, so I ask all the moms the same question. Tell me about when you were pregnant with him. Did you have a healthy pregnancy? Were there any kind of red flags, any warning signs, or no?
No, in fact, he was full term, and everything was fine. And only the last month, I had a lot of allergic reactions on my body. It was too, you can see like some kind of an allergy, but then everything was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had him, he was full term, the full 9 months, and then during the birth, were there any kind of issues?
Yeah, we had a C-section.
Okay.
Yeah, so we had to do a C-section. I had taken epidural.
Okay, and then were his APGAR scores fine? Like, did he have to go into the NICU, anything like that, or no?
Yeah, they said there was some water in the lungs and it's very common. And then they put him into that oxygen thing for a couple of hours and then he was fine.
Okay, so then you brought him home, and then how was his development? Was it on time? Was it delayed?
See, everything was, I think by third or fourth month, everything was going absolutely fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And we could see that he would understand our facial expressions at that 3 to 4 month so much that I have some videos to show that how he's having fun with his dad, just with the facial expressions.
Mm-hmm.
And we would say, wow, he understands so much at this age. Like, yeah. But I think after the fourth or fifth month, actually, when around he was around 5 months, it was year 2001.
Okay.
And 2001, the 9/11 had happened.
Right.
So my husband had lost his job.
Oh.
And yeah, and like.
Was he working in the city?
Yes.
Okay.
He was working in a city and he was assured that everything is going to be fine before he just took up this project.
Mm-hmm.
And he said everything is going to be fine. And during that time, he lost his job and he was giving interviews, and 9/11 happened. And that time we also moved into a new house and bringing a new baby into a new house and no job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Almost 4 to 6 months.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The same thing happened to me. I was pregnant with my twins, and my husband, had to find a new job also.
And during that time, when he got a job in California, I said, why I'm staying here all alone with Akhil? I can go to India so that my family's, because Akhil is the first grandchild from both the ends. So they all wanted.
On both sides. Oh, okay. So that's a big deal.
That's an absolutely big deal. So decided to go. So I went to the doctor and said, you know what, I want to go to India. Is it okay? He said, yeah, absolutely, no, fine. But make sure you have all the vaccinations. And he gave 5 vaccinations, took one time.
Hold on one second. I think you need to turn the background off because your hands disappear when you're talking and the chair comes in and goes out of the photo. I think it looks better without if you just have your, go
Sure,
back to your.
Sure. Sure. Is it okay?
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. So when I had planned a trip to go to India, and I asked the doctor, can I take him to India? He said, yeah.
So was your family in India? And you were going to go stay with your family?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody in-laws and everybody were in India.
Okay.
Okay. So he said, yeah, no problem. You can definitely go to India, but make sure, because you're going out of the country, make sure you're up to dating the vaccinations. And I said, okay, like a good parent, listen to what the doctor says.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave 5 vaccinations shots, 5 shots, one after the other.
Mm.
And after
And
that, when I,
he was about 5 months old then?
yes.
Okay.
And then after that, when I brought him home, he was crying, and we said, it's okay, kids cry. And then I went to India. And I think after that,
Did he get a
I,
fever or anything? Did he get sick? No, he just was crying.
yeah, he was crying. And after that, I think around 9 months, he started responding to his name.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, I could see during that time some red flags. He definitely had some, I definitely had some red flags that something is not right with him.
Like what kind of red flags do you
I
think?
think that there were some delays, there were some temper tantrums, there was no gestures, there was no form of communication.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody just letting me down, like, oh, you are a mom who want to see, you have these expectations, you want him to do things so early, you want him to do this. And I said, okay. After during his first birthday, I came back
Mm-hmm.
to US because he wanted to celebrate his first birthday in US with his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And right after the MMR, he went into a rapid regression right in front of our eyes. He
Hmm.
stopped responding to his name. He started head banging. Like he used to spin around, and he used to eat non-edible things. He was completely in his own world.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then still I was worried, like telling that, something is not right, like something is not right about him.
Mm-hmm.
And they started, then when we went to the doctor, they said, yes, you better to see developmental pediatrician.
Yeah, the developmental pediatrician. And so he was a year old then?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And what town are you in? You're in New Jersey,
Edison.
right?
It is in New Jersey,
Oh,
yes.
you're in Edison. Oh, okay. So where did you go to the doctor, to the developmental pediatrician?
I went to a local doctor over here. I don't want to take her name.
No,
So
that's okay. I just no. I just wanted to know because a couple people mentioned Children's Specialized Hospital. I just wondered if
no. I
okay,
went to a very,
okay. Yeah, I'll
so
edit that stuff out. That's fine.
first time I went to her, she told me, oh, these are the symptoms of autism. These are autistic symptoms. And I said, what is, I did not know what autism. I said, is it artistic? She said, no,
Yeah.
autistic.
Yes. People say that to me. They say, "Oh, he's artistic." No, autistic.
Because there are artists in my in-law side. I said,
Yes.
okay, maybe like artistic behavior. What is it? There are
Yes.
artists in my family. You can know
Yes.
autistic.
Yes.
And then she just gave me one piece of paper and said there was an old man on that piece of paper, working, showing as if he's working in a grocery store. And she told, go and contact your early intervention. I had no clue what autism was,
Right.
and
Or
what
early
is this
intervention. Yeah.
old man connected to this.
Yeah.
And I just told my husband, and then we started reading, researching, and I was in denial. And my husband was used to work in New York City. I never, and he would come home and he would play a lot with Akhil that time.
Hmm.
And that was very unusual to me because those signs were concerning signs to me. Because like he was different. Like my husband was like very was reading and coming, and he used to spend a lot of time with my son. uh,
Right.
it was different. I said this was something different. So I got concerned, like, okay.
Wait, I don't understand. Your husband used to come home and he would play with him. So
Yeah,
what?
and
What?
that play was this play was different. Like he was spending too much time with him, and it was like something was going on. And I said, okay, he every day he comes home, and it's, but what is, why he's like, it was a concern. I could feel it was something different. It was, you
The
can just
way
spend
they were
time.
playing?
Yeah, it was something different. Yeah, I mean, I was concerned,
Okay.
I was concerned, and I said something is unusual. And then I started reading, and then finally, I went to when I was prepared, and I went to the doctor again
Hmm.
with our questions,
And
and I
this is
asked,
and who is this? Your pediatrician?
no, developmental
Oh,
pediatrician.
the
I went
developmental
to
one.
her again with tons
Okay.
of questions because now I had researched, and
Oh,
then she said, I asked her whether he will sit with typical children. The moment she heard this question, and I was asking a lot of questions, she stood up and she told me that, forget about recovery.
Okay.
Either he will talk or he will not talk,
Hmm.
and he will not live an independent life.
Hmm.
So forget about recovery. And she stood up and she said, I am not a doctor. I'm not a right doctor for you to answer a lot of your all questions, and I have other patients to see. So you should go and find some other doctor who will answer all your questions.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Isn't that?
Nice bedside manner there. Yeah.
And I said, okay. And then we went to another doctor, and
So
he,
this is 2001, right?
yes, in
So
2002, around
was there
2002.
internet then? Were you able
Yeah,
to look things up on the internet?
yeah, internet was there, and she was a doctor. I think very outdated. I think she
I
might be
just, you said you did research, so I was just wondering, did you go to the library? Were you Google?
online, everything online. You search about autism, and then after that, when we realized that how serious this was, definitely went through guilt and denial. There was no anger, but there were definitely guilt, denial, and bargaining. But then we very quickly accepted his autism, saying that he's come into our life for some reason,
Mhm.
and we have to maybe give back something to the community. With that thought, we kept that thought aside,
Okay.
and we started educating ourselves completely. And then that's how our early intervention journey started.
Okay.
But while I was in India, when he was diagnosed in India, again, when our trip was planned to India. So now we were going to India with my husband, and
Now you're
with the
going again. You're going
yes,
for another trip.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And this time we were going with diagnosis.
Right. Now
So
you have to go tell your family.
yes, and then they all were in denial. They said, no, we don't believe in this. We don't agree. He doesn't have this kind of stuff. And, start sending him to preschool. Once he starts hanging out with other kids, um, he'll be fine. But there I learned about ABA therapy. I learned about ABA program.
ABA, you learned about that in India or when you were here?
Yes, in
Oh,
India.
really? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, and I was connected by one of the doctors to one of the parent, and she herself is a doctor. So she told me, you have to go to New York and get yourself trained in verbal behavior therapy.
Get yourself trained.
Yeah, like
Oh,
to do the workshop and get
okay.
the training like that. So I came here and I was researching more about autism. I was trying to look for a more recovery, who had autism and what is a positive story.
Okay.
Another positive story I came across was the Option Institute, the Sunrise program.
Okay.
So I told my husband, if they can do it, why can't we do it?
Hmm.
Okay. And then we started looking into the verbal behavior.
So tell me the name of it again. What sunrise
Sunrise program.
sunrise program, and what is that?
That is a program started by the parents who had one child with autism, and how they developed this method, and now they have something called as Option Institute,
Okay.
where they have programs and retreats for illness, mental health, and now they have a child who's completely recovered out of autism.
Oh, really? Completely recovered. So is what kind of program is this? This is a preschool. This is a place for
It
it's
is a sun.
for
It is
therapy.
called, yeah. It is a therapy program. You can call it as a therapy program, relationship forming program, where you go into the child's world and then take a lead and then start teaching the child.
Oh,
So we never did that. We never did that. But we looked into the verbal behavior till the time we had early intervention coming to our house, and that was just for 1 hour.
right.
Okay, and they would just come teach me something and go, and now you teach the child.
Okay.
And we learned that
How
it
did
was
you
not
find
enough.
the early intervention? Did you through your doctor or?
Yeah, they gave me a note and we had to contact the child study team. And when the child study team first gave us a center, and it was just like waste of time. What I learned, that as per the research, he should have at least 20 to 40 hours of therapy,
Mm-hmm.
APA therapy. That was the research. I read the book. Let
Of
me hear your
ABA
voice.
therapy.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
40 hours and you were getting 1 hour.
yes.
Okay.
And what I read the book, Let Me Hear Your Voice,
Yes.
by Catherine Morris.
Okay.
And I said, that was another hope. I said, wow, if they can recover, we can also do this. This was the hope stories I was looking for.
Okay.
And then how I started into contacting many parents, started talking to them. And then once we realized whatever we were getting was not enough, we had to hire a parent advocate.
Oh, an advocate. Okay.
A
Hmm.
parent advocate,
Yes.
not
Yeah.
an
A parent advocate. Where did you find them?
again in New Jersey somewhere. I was searching and talking to somebody referred. And then we called the entire team. We called the child study team. We called it the people who were giving that therapy. We called them and we rejected them. We said no, we are not going to accept this. And the parent advocate then explained them, no, these are the evaluations. We did our set of evaluations, and that's how they got us. In fact, I made a statement there to the child study team. Said, look, I went to spoke with many parents, and
Hmm.
a lot of the parents told us not to rely on early intervention,
Mm.
and it hit them back.
Hmm.
And they asked me, did this what the parents said? I said, yes. And I said, yes, parents told me not to rely on early intervention.
Okay.
And then they went back, and then we got an agency. We got 20 hours of AB approved for him through
Okay.
the state per week.
Okay. Okay. So
But it
you
took a
had a
while.
parent advocate. Okay. Interesting, because on Thursday I'm going to interview an advocacy person.
And that was back then. So
Mhm.
it took 4 months for agency to come to
Wow.
follow up till the time we knew what exactly we needed for our son. So we hired a private BCBA.
Oh, okay.
We hired a private ABA therapist,
Okay.
and we hired one more person who can help us. That's how we had a team of 3 people, including me, in
Okay.
our house implementing the program
Okay. And so how old was he?
around 23, 24 months.
Okay.
And then around 28, 27, 28, 20, 26, 28 months, the agency came
Okay.
with full 10 hours of ABA therapy per week
Okay.
through the state.
Okay.
So that's how for 1.5 year we concentrated only on behavior therapy.
Mm-hmm.
His eye contact started getting better. He started responding, and his verbal imitation started coming out. He was completely non-verbal. Verbal imitation started coming out. Some OT, some speech, but not that great. It was very hard to find a good OT. It was very hard to find a good speech therapist.
Mm-hmm.
They were just nothing but like blow bubbles and blow
Right.
bubbles and the mama mama mama, and
Right.
nothing
Right.
was
Right.
beyond like.
Mm-hmm.
And but then around 1.5 year, he plateaued.
Hmm.
He did learn a lot of skills. I
Mm-hmm.
have tons of videos to show.
Mm-hmm.
But then he had meltdowns, he had temper tantrums, and so it was not working. And then when he started going to school, we looked into private school. The whole year we looked into private schools. We had a BCBA going into those schools. And when she approved one school and he went to school, and 6 months, wherever we had given the skills up, Akhil didn't perform anything there, and they came back to square one.
Hmm.
Because Akhil had memorized the entire environment, the entire people. Like if I have to just perform when my mom is present.
Oh.
And they literally told me, the principal told me, he is performing for you in the house only because you are present in the house.
Huh. So when he went to school, he stopped performing then because you weren't there.
Yes, because also the expectations were different.
Mm.
His music, this is toy, and this was music. So one day when I went to observe him, the therapist was holding a toy which had music. He
Oh.
is saying music,
Yes.
and she's expecting toy.
Oh.
And I can see there,
Mm-hmm.
because we had started with sign language, and I could see there that my
Mm-hmm.
child is saying music, but
Yes.
she is expecting toy.
Right.
So definitely the
Confusing
sign,
him.
huh?
She was confusing him because it was a music toy. It was both.
Correct. But so
Right.
she couldn't catch that.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so that was constantly happening with our son. And
Yeah.
at home, I was making sure if somebody is accepting cookie like this, we are making sure that we are accepting cookie like this.
Yes.
Or somebody doing a cracker like this and one body's cracker doing like, I had to get them on the same page.
Yes. Yes.
So in school, clearly they didn't were not efficient, and they did not know about the sign language.
Right.
Okay, I used to write a lot of notes to school because I was a very involved mother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they would say, why is this mother writing all these things?
Mm-hmm.
Why is she teaching us? I never understood that.
Right.
Okay. But that history goes
How
on.
old was he when he started school? 3?
Three.
Okay.
Three. So it was very hard initially. But then in a 1 year, we pulled him out of that school. And we aggressively looked. But during that time, we also started looking into biomedical intervention.
Okay.
That's where things started changing.
Huh.
His gut, his diet. And we would go to the mainstream and ask them, can we do diet? No, 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 don't do the diet. But we would come home and do the diet and we would see improvement. He was not sleeping. So he said, can we give him melatonin? No, 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 don't give melatonin. So whatever we would tell them, they would say no, 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 no. But whenever we would come home and do those things, we were seeing improvements.
Right.
So we stopped going to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we completely dived into the biomedical, and his personality started changing. His eye contact started
Changing?
personality started
Oh, his
changing.
personality. Oh, okay.
Yeah, his eye contact started changing. His behavior started getting better.
Hmm.
And schools started telling me, oh, his personality is changing. I said, no, his personality is not changing. Whatever we are doing at home, that is different.
Yeah.
But then
So
we
what
pulled
were
him.
you doing biomedically besides melatonin? You
No,
changed
we
the
were
diet?
yes, we changed the diet. We brought in supplements. We did a lot of. We started looking into the chelation therapy.
Chelation, yes.
Yes,
I know of that, yeah.
detoxification. Yes, so
I
and
know of adults that have done it. I didn't know that they did it with kids.
no, we did it during back time. At that time, we also looked into MB12 shots.
B12 shots? Okay.
Yes, we did the B12 shots, and we were the whole completely into the biomedical intervention. So we had shifted our viewpoint from autism, from completely behavior to medical disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And his gut was a issue. His poops were not formed. Digestive enzymes were a problem. Definitely, there was malabsorption issues. There's a lot of issues going on with his gut. As we started working, until the time we also wanted to make sure he has a good ABA program. So by age of 11 or 10, even though his
So it's an ABA school. So this is a school for autism.
yes,
Mm.
yes,
Okay.
and he was surrounded by the topmost BCBAs and BCABAs and well-trained ABA therapists. But till the age of 10 or 11,
Mm-hmm.
they stopped all his academic programs.
Why?
They said he can receptively identify things, but he cannot expressively. Akhil doesn't know his letters, numbers, colors, and they started teaching him daily living at the age of 11.
Oh, okay.
And that also they were failing.
Mm.
So I
Now,
said,
could he speak? No. Does he speak now or no?
no, now the language is coming. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And
All right.
he
But at
had
10,
no,
11 years old, he had
yeah,
no speech.
there were no mode of communication. They tried PECs with him.
I was going to ask, did they do PECs?
Yeah, they,
Like PECs?
yeah,
Oh, he was
he used to.
signing.
No, the sign did not work. Line did not work because
Oh,
he
the
was
signing didn't work.
scrolling. No, it didn't work because he was scrolling the signs. He never got his. It's very different for him, so he couldn't connect, and he was just memorizing stuff.
Right.
So we pulled him. Then we pulled him into a different school with a
I
DI.
think I know what you mean with the memorizing because when my son was in school and they used PECs, I think he would say, "Oh, I know they want me to pick this picture with the cup. I don't know why. I don't really know what it means.
Correct.
But I know
Exactly.
that's the one they want me to pick."
Exactly. The over and over teaching, my son would guess that what exactly they want me to do because they're taking a data and they're putting minus every time, or
Yeah.
plus minus. And so he was definitely observing what everything was going on with him.
Yes.
Okay. But only because he couldn't express. So now, at the age of 11, extremely hyper child.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yes. And now, yeah, at 11, we're about to hit puberty.
correct. And I was like, okay, we were looking into seizures, making sure there are no seizures, and
Right.
what else can we do? What else can we do? I also told the ABA school that I want to look into rapid prompting method for typing. And they said, no,
That's the
no,
rapid prompting method. Okay, so just to stop you there, because for those of you watching, I did an episode with Jenny and her son Adam, and he's 34 now, and he started doing the RPM, the rapid prompting, just a couple of years ago, and he communicates with that. So
I told them,
they should know what you're talking about. If they've seen that episode, then they know what we're talking about. So how did you hear about the RPM?
No, so RPM I heard through one of the other mothers, and I approached the school and told school that I want to do this, and they rejected it. They said, no, 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 it doesn't work. And so I did not take that route.
Okay.
Now I send him to a different school called as which they use like a DIR floor time approach.
DIR? Okay, I don't know what that is.
It's a floor time. It's another floor time approach. It's
I-
another therapy. It's another approach.
It's just another, okay, it's just a,
Yeah. And they, interestingly, in that school, they introduced him typing.
type A.
Typing.
Oh, typing. Oh, they introduced him to typing? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, introduced him typing in the sense with another controversial method, facilitated communication. So-
Yes. I remember kids in Robbie's school that you could use a facilitator and they would type out. Yeah.
Correct.
And I learned something, like one of the parents, her sons could communicate with that, and he typed out, like he would have a meltdown, and she says, "What's wrong?" And he typed, and he said, "I'm saying I want a cookie, but I really want a cracker."
Exactly.
The wrong word was coming out, and that's when I
Correct.
said, "Wow, this is kind of like people that have a stroke, like they can't get the right
Exactly.
word," but he could type it, but he couldn't say it.
So that school exposed us to supported typing.
Okay.
That school also exposed us to something called as reflexes.
Called what?
Reflexes.
Yeah.
Reflexes.
And that, okay, what is that?
It's like when you're born, you have reflexes, and when they integrate, your brain matures.
Okay.
So this GIR floor time comes from that methodology. It comes from that development. Like they have studied how the typical children develop, what happens during that brain, and what is the difference between. So that's where the reflexes and everything comes into picture.
Okay.
Knowing your mind, it's like a mind and body disconnect.
Uh-huh.
So they introduce, and I had no clue what is mind body, but our son started typing in school.
He did.
And they called me. Yes. First day, first session, he goes, and he, with the facilitated communication, he types 4 lines. So they call me that, Manisha, Akhil came for the typing session, and this program will really benefit him.
Okay.
But I said, no, he doesn't know his letters and numbers. He didn't know, he knows. I said, but no, he doesn't know his colors and shapes. No, he knows. I said, but he doesn't know his alphabets. No, he knows. I said, okay, 10 years, 11 years, they have constantly told me he doesn't know.
He couldn't, yeah.
Okay, and there is no data to show that he knows his letters and numbers. And as I went to school, I observed that, and I came back, and I started doing with him. And in a month or 2 months' time, we got connected, and he started typing with me at home. So exactly same thing happened. He would go to the bathroom door, and he would say, "Opa, opa, opa, opa."
Mm-hmm.
Like open the door, like open. So we would expect opa, 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 opa. But if I take iPad there and ask him, what do you want? He would say, bathroom door is closed, open the door.
Wow. So he could type out that whole thing.
Yes, with my support. But it was so controversial with my support. There's a support.
With your support. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a support there. So, but then that's how then we accepted his till the time we had already started our own non-profit foundation.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yes. So around his 7 years of his age.
Oh, when he was 7, you started?
Yes, when he was 7. So it's because we already seeing some improvement in him. I said, wow, now we need to do something for India. And that was one of the goals why we started Akhil Autism Foundation.
That's it for part 1 of the story of Manisha and Akhil. Be sure to tune in to part 2, where you're going to hear about how he learned how to communicate with RPM, her plans to put him in college, and starting a foundation in Akhil's name. I hope you enjoyed listening and it helped you gain a new perspective. To see the video version of the show, go to our YouTube channel, Robbie and Me, Autism Reality. If you're interested in buying our book series, Robbie's World and His Spectrum of Adventures, the link will be in our episode description, as well as my Instagram and Facebook pages. If you enjoyed the show and you'd like more content, please be sure to hit that like button, follow us, and don't forget to leave us a great review. Thank you for joining us. Be sure to join us again on our next episode of Spectrum Perspectives.
Thank you for joining us for part 1 of today's episode. Be sure to join us again next time to hear the second half of the interview on Spectrum Perspectives.